Things first, I'd like to thank all of you for voting for me. And of course, a big thank you to the Russian oligarchs who helped influence that vote. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Samer. I'm Layla's brother, and I'm in the lower third of the class. You laugh, but a third of you are there with me. And as of tomorrow, none of that matters anymore. Anyway, it's great to be back in Connolly Auditorium, home to the majority of our med school lectures. This hall holds a lot of dear memories for the past 4 years. I don't personally remember any of them, since after each and every exam, it was like the bonfire of the vanities in my hippocampus. Gone. I'm certain that at some point we learned what tuberous sclerosis is, but I'm just coming up with ash leaf spots. Jokes aside, we've learned a lot during our time here, and it wasn't all just rote memorization of knowledge. We also learned important life skills like teamwork, or how to meticulously update sign out for 2 hours, only to have your resident just change it at the last minute anyways. And of course, most importantly, we learned that the phrase, "Is there anything else I can help with?" means please let me go, or so help me God, I will bash my own head in with a reflex hammer. But the biggest thing I think I've learned during my time here, my main takeaway from the past 4 years of lectures and clinical rotations, is just how super weird med school is. This whole experience has been absolutely bananas. We had paid actors yelling at us to give them narcotics in order to test our interpersonal skills. We used a website called Nearpod for some reason that I can't figure out. At one point in first year, we literally worked with a bucket labeled brains. Truly, med school is a bastion of absurdity. But I think the masterpiece, the apex of this mind-boggling strangeness we experienced here at Jefferson, was something called the Beacon. For those of you in the audience who did not get to experience the glory of the Beacon, it was a big metal sculpture that sat right outside in Lubert Plaza for a couple days this past year. It was sold to us as an integrated health art piece, covered in high-tech wearables, guarded by an armada of drones, with a companion app you could download to your phone to change it to one of 3 colors associated with mood. If that description just fried your brain, you are not alone. I still to this day have only a vague idea what the Beacon actually was, and that vague idea begins and ends with ugly, expensive statue with a hilariously dystopian caps lock name. Now, I could go on and on about the absurdity of the Beacon, and I will in a couple minutes. But this day belongs to something equally strange. You. The Sidney Kimmel Medical College, class of 2017. This class is filled with fascinating, weird people. You have classically trained musicians, Instagram celebrities, progs. You're all unique in your own bizarre way, but I have at most 10 minutes up here, so I can't properly do an in-depth roast of each and every one of you. So instead of singling out each member of this diverse group of privileged white people, I'd like to address you all as a unit. Like the Mickey Mouse Club. If halfway through the show some other wealthier mouse came on stage, poured a bunch of money on it, and it changed its name to the Sidney Kimmel Club. So, Sidketeers, let's talk about our future. We all came into this career because we wanted to help people by being smart. It sounded so simple when we got started, but we quickly learned that's not the whole truth. There's all this crazy Kafkaesque baggage that comes with the job we're about to undertake. We've already been hammered with lectures on professionalism and empathy, bombarded with standardized checklists and feedback on every aspect of our data gathering and clinical decision making. But the future brings even more of this business class weirdness. We're currently living in a dystopia where coverage and access are buzzwords thrown around in political arguments, and ridiculous patient satisfaction surveys legitimately change the way we interact with our own patients. In other words, healthcare in this country is an ugly, weird, corporate thing that costs too much and doesn't serve the purpose it's meant to. Which is why I think that the Beacon might have been the most educational thing this institution ever put in front of our eyeballs. The Beacon's a monolith. It's a giant, intimidating slab of cold, unfeeling metal. But through some random technobabble buzzwords and a companion app, it's supposed to be a humanistic expression of emotion and caring. And I think that's a load of baloney. The big, important changes in medicine aren't going to come from apps or technologies or efforts to integrate different fields. They're going to come from the basics, from people like you and me working hard and fighting for our patients. You see this giant, messy, bureaucratic monster in your future? Don't feel like you have to download the app to be a part of it. Make the effort to change it. Ram into that hideous mess of bureaucracy with the strength of a winged ox. And when that doesn't take it down, ram into it again, and again, and again. Sit down and listen to your patients instead of interrupting them so you can check off the boxes on the MR. Spend the extra couple minutes looking into whether their insurance covers the meds you're prescribing. Explain things to their families so they don't feel lost or frightened. Volunteer with the underprivileged, the homeless, the refugees, the systematically neglected. Medicine has an ugly history with race, gender, and poverty. Fight against that, whether personally in your relationships with your patients, or more broadly, getting involved in patient advocacy and shaping health policy. And last but not least, take care of yourselves. We've been through a lot already. I mean, you couldn't possibly pay me enough to take step one again. But after tomorrow, the real work begins. We're not the students asking if there's anything else we can help with anymore. We're the ones being asked that. And that extra responsibility is going to be heavy. A lot of the time, it's going to feel like you're already burnt out. Don't ignore that feeling. Talk to your family and friends. Do something fun and non-medical. Keep yourself from falling apart whatever way you know how. I can tell you the only reason I'm standing here today is because other people got me through this place, like Sam carrying Frodo up Mount Doom. But if med school was the fantasy adventure of Lord of the Rings, then residency is going to be the dark, muddy nightmare of Game of Thrones. And we all just signed up to guard the wall. It's going to be a long, cold winter. Don't let it consume you. Dedicate yourselves to the noble pursuits of this work and fight for what's right. Look out for your patients, for your co-residents, and for yourselves. And when your med student asks if there's anything else they can do to help, please either teach them something or send them home. Thank you.
Take a bow. All right, so I got a little rebuttal here. First of all, Dean Pohl, who checks what these people are going to speak about when they get up here? So if we decided to put drinks before the program, next year we do a thorough analysis of the presentation. Samir, I really hate to break the news to you, but I was behind the Beacon.